Okay, so today I want to talk about something known as Trump derangement syndrome. What is TDS? It's a pejorative term used to describe negative reactions to the US President Donald Trump that are characterized as irrational, disconnected from Trump's actual policy position. So that's one definition coming from Trump supporters. But why do they have that? The term has mainly been used by Trump supporters to discredit any criticism of him as a way of reframing the discussion by suggesting that his opponents are incapable of accurately perceiving the world, thus making TDS a logical fallacy. Some journalists have used the term to call for restraint when judging Trump's statements and actions. The term has also come to describe the nature of Trump supporters and their own unwavering support of the president. Despite the usage of the term syndrome suggesting a medical condition, TDS is not an official medical diagnosis. No shit. Trump derangement syndrome is not recognized as a legitimate mental disorder or any version, blah, blah, blah. Okay, it's not a real disorder. Yeah, we get that. So what is it really? When Trump supporters label criticism of him as Trump derangement syndrome, to them, it's serving as a thought-terminating cliche. It allows them to automatically deflect and block out any criticism of Trump, so they never even have to think about it, because all criticism is merely just derangement, right? If you criticize him, you're just deranged, and that's where the conversation ends for you, right? It's effectively, well, it is a logical fallacy, as is set up here, but it's like this is effectively the equivalent of just covering your ears and saying, la, 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 I can't hear you, right? You're just muting out what the other person says. You're not considering what they're saying in good faith because you're just labeling what they're saying as derangement. And this is kind of a cult tactic too, by the way. One thing cults do is that they try to get you separated from the people who care about you, and they try to they use like psychological techniques to get people to not listen to any perceived criticism of the cult by labeling criticism as derangement or craziness or as hack, right? So that's what it is. It allows them to not hear any criticism of Trump. When I say him, I mean Trump and his supporters, to not hear any criticism, and if they behave like a cult. So let's go to this usage section. The term has been widely applied by pro-Trump writers to critics of Trump, accusing them of negatively responding to a wider range of Trump's statements and actions. The term has been used by journalists critical of Trump to call for restraint. According to Newsweek, Trump and his top communication advisors, including current White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt and Communications Director Stephen Cheung, have repeatedly accused many critics of having a severe case of Trump derangement syndrome. Okay, I think we get the idea here. I also want to show this article where Trump attacks 4 disloyal Republicans for pushing back on Canada tariffs in a late-night screed. President Trump chastised 4 disloyal Republican lawmakers who indicated they will join Democrats in voting for a resolution to undo his tariffs on Canada, calling them extremely difficult in an overnight social media rant. Early Wednesday morning, Trump took to his social media platform to implore Senators Mitch McConnell, Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, and Rand Paul to get on the Republican bandwagon and remain loyal to Trump. Oh, sorry, their party. Why are they allowing fentanyl to pour into our country unchecked? From Canada, though? It comes from Mexico, and without penalty. And what is wrong with them other than suffering from Trump derangement syndrome, commonly known as TDS? Trump said of the other Republicans. So it's not just people who criticize Trump from the left. Other Republicans are also labeled as being deranged if they don't agree with Trump on everything. In this case, if you don't think that we should tariff Canada, one of our most loyal allies, one of our best friends in the world, well, then you're just deranged, right? I also have a few clips on YouTube. This is Trump talking about Trump derangement syndrome, and I believe this is the State of the Union from this year.
It passed. What would happen is your taxes go up 68%. Think of that. And we may not get one vote because they just vote against.
He's so slow
Trump
now.
derangement syndrome, or maybe it's just they hate Republicans or they hate what we're doing because they've lost their confidence. They've totally lost their confidence.
Yeah, it's not a bad policy. We're just deranged. It's all just hate, yeah. What a way of framing it. So here's one thing. Mental illness, Trump derangement syndrome, proposed by Republicans. So this is Republicans actually trying to make TDS be a real syndrome.
Republican lawmakers in Minnesota want to, here in the state, add Trump derangement syndrome as an official mental illness.
The bill aims to change our state's definition of mental illness to include a form of criticism of the current president. Hannah Flood joins us
I'm
from
surprised they can even say that with a straight face.
the Live Center with the details on this. Is a bill that's getting national attention. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. This bill defines the Trump derangement syndrome as an acute onset of paranoia in otherwise normal persons that is in reaction to the policies and presidencies of Donald J. Trump. Now, this bill lists symptoms as verbal hostility towards President Trump and overt acts of aggression and violence toward supporters.
But when Republicans are violent or hostile or use bad words, they're just what? Patriots defending their country? Shut up.
Currently, mental illness is defined as a disorder or other issue that is included in a diagnostic codes list. While it's frequently used by President Donald Trump and his supporters, Trump derangement syndrome is not recognized as a mental diagnosis. The derangement syndrome political phrase was actually coined in 2003 by a political commentator. The Minnesota bill borrows the exact phrasing that commentator used to describe Bush derangement
So I
syndrome.
think you get the idea. This probably isn't going to go anywhere. It's just something Republicans are doing to get attention, I guess. But yeah, they're even, at least in Minnesota, officially trying to label TDS as a real mental illness. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. This is from a while ago. Yeah, it's from 7 months ago. I don't think anything actually came of it. But it does go to show you like how deep these things run. Imagine if they actually did label it, you know? Sounds like something a cult would do. And last and probably least, we have infamous Greg Gutfeld, who's been featured on this channel before, by the way. Let's watch this video of him talking about TDS too, just so we can really, understand why it's kind of culty.
But the Dems, they seem so, what's the word for it? Ugly.
Oh, right, because no Republican is ugly at all, right? It's not like Trump himself is an 80-year-old orange buffoon or anything like that. But yeah, it's all just us. Of course, there are ugly Democrats too. Hey, our politicians are really old. I have a video about that also, by the way. But let's not act like this is unique, all right? God, look at that stupid smile.
And that's because the mind and body are intertwined, and you can't be physically appealing if your mind is drowning in hate.
Well, then why do so many of the Trump women look terrible? Because of their Mar-a-Lago makeup, right? Like that, you talk about corrupting your body. Like, why does Caroline Leavitt look like she's 40 when she's actually like 28? You know? I agree, like, when you drown yourself in hate, it does affect you. I just think you should think about how it applies to your own side too. But the thing is, he's not being honest. Of course, he's a bad faith grifter who's saying these things for the money. He's not actually being serious. He's just doing his job.
Look at TDS sufferers before and after Trump. Their posture, hair, faces. Kathy Griffin alone can scare stripes off a zebra. That's the opportunity cost of Trump derangement. It drains all the energy, the humor, and joy from your life. That's why it's not a syndrome, it's an addiction. And what happens with an addict? They lose interest in everything but the drug. They stop bathing, they stop trying, the spouse leaves.
It could describe
the
Trump
bills
supporters.
don't get paid, the friends disappear. In short, you're Keith Olbermann.
All right, well, so on that note, I think we should just end it. Let's summarize. So what's Trump derangement syndrome? It's when you take criticism of Trump and automatically deflect it because you think it's all just derangement. And to any conservatives out there, it's okay if you're a Trump supporter. I just want to understand, I just want you to understand that, when you hear criticism of Trump, it oftentimes is coming from a place of good faith. It is a genuine criticism. And so all I'm asking is just be open-minded and understand that when people criticize Trump, can you please just, come up with a rebuttal? Can you come up with a coherent, logical argument as to why that criticism is wrong, rather than just labeling as TDS and closing your eyes and shutting your ears and going, la, 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 I can't hear you? That's all I'm asking, right? Just engage in good faith. We can have an actual discussion here. But they probably won't do that. Anyway, by the way, like, comment, subscribe. See you next time.